Okay, hello everyone. Hello again. So this is the second part of the asynchronous lecture scheduled for the Wednesday, the lab class. So in the previous video, I covered the application of the ANOVA and the post-hook test to find what are the pair of the groups having statistically significantly different different mean of the dependent variable. So the wording is very complex, but anyway. So simply which groups? So which pair of the groups are statistically significantly different from each other? So that will be the outcome you can find in your post-hook test of the Shape or Tukey option. So these are anyway the statistical part as a part of the analysis and the data analysis and the statistical method. But again, as a general, so then a general background of the quantitative method. Let me cover a little bit more of the basics in terms of the quantitative method or data analysis. So we call that there are two big diverging parts of the research method or the research activity in social science or other kind of sciences. So deductive method or inductive method or the deduction or induction. So deduction starts from hypothesis, the general criteria and the general argument that, okay, so as you made some research topic or the research question in the hypothesis, you could say that there are probably the racial income differences. So your hypothesis said that there is racial difference in income. So you are making very grand argument about that. And then by using the observation, so we can observe all the racial income differentials in the population. So we are using the GSS data as the survey data we already have generated by the scientists in the maybe the University of Chicago, the social science survey group. Anyway, that is the data we can use as part of the observation or using the secondary data. And then based on the statistical method, the empirical generalization, or we would say maybe in population level, because even though we are using the sample data, by using inferential statistics such as ANOVA, we covered in the previous video, and t-test, and even z-score, or we are using the inferential statistics to make the generalizations. So empirical generalization means not only by our mention and our notion in the philosophy within brain, we are using the clues, the empirical clues based on the statistics and the survey data. We are using the statistical method to find the generalizations. And then after finding something, we are creating the theory. There is. So the theory of the racial income differences. Anyway, we can find based on the races, the racial orientation and the racial identity, we can find the differences of the income. Then there will be the circulation of the research method in terms of the deduction. In opposite, so it's kind of clockwise circles. But if we just make so opposite direction, so it starts from empirical generalizations. All right, so we start from the observer. We start from the observation. Okay, we start from observation. So we saw that. So we watched some observational cases. So we maybe in Gettysburg, for example, or we can make some observation of the people of the cases. So I can ask you the question to my neighbor, and one of my neighbor is African American. So it's kind of privacy issues. In reality, it's very hard to do it. But I can ask my neighbor that what is your income? Sounds very rude, but in theory. So let's imagine. And maybe my another neighbor is maybe non-Hispanic white, and I can ask the question. Okay. Maybe some my neighbor on the next to the street. Actually, she's actually the teacher in the first grade there. Well, I can ask the income again. And then after accumulating the 10 cases and 20 cases and the 30 cases, and we can find that, okay, so after finding from the 50 cases in Gettysburg, we can make some hypotheses that some race would have the higher income in general. And then after adding up maybe 100 to 200 cases, maybe we can make the theory that, okay, in Gettysburg, in Gettysburg, there is some racial inequality. So this is kind of the opposite direction. So the deduction starts from hypothesis, so argument, and then using the data, or using the inferential statistics, we can just make the generalization as a theory. But it's opposite. Induction part is starting from the generalization and the observation. And then after accumulating observations, we can add up to the theory level. So these are different parts. So the deduction method is mostly the quantitative method. So we are learning. And induction method is more likely to be the qualitative method. So if you already took the qualitative method class, maybe you already know about that. So again, deductive method starting from the hypothesis and then observation. So using the sample data, we can find some generalization if there is a statistically significant. But in opposite, inductive method start from the observation. And after accumulating observation, you can find some pattern and then you can find some conclusion. So these are some different methods. So one example of the inductive method, I mean the qualitative method, is the Annette Larus. She was actually a professor at the University of Maryland. I graduated, but she moved to the Temple University and then the University of Pennsylvania because she was so famous and very renowned scholar. Anyway, she wrote a very influential book, says the class and the parenting. I don't know. So unequal childhood. So in summary, so if you already read this book, you already know about that. So in summary, she argued that based on their social class, so whether they are middle or upper class, or so dividing the two groups, so middle or upper class group and the working class or the manual worker or relatively lower class people, there are the class differentiated, social class differentiated parenting style. And then that parenting style impacted on the differentiation of the outcome of the children. So, very simple, right? Based on the social class, they would have the differentiated parenting style mediating the outcome of the children. So that was the outcome we can see. So there are the arguments. So this is the summarization. So concerted cultivation and the accomplishment of the natural growth. So middle class or the higher class people, they would have the parenting style of the fosters and maybe encouraging some their independence and their talents. So based on their talents, they are trying to be very careful. So instead of the very direct words or some very verbal abuse, they are using some of the negotiation and some other method of the a language that are fostering their talents or fostering their skills like that. So anyway, so I don't need to go over their details because this is not theory class, but there are two diverging the patterns of the parenting impacts on the outcome of the outcome of the children. But we can focus on the accomplishment of natural growth, which means the parenting style of the working class or the lower class people. So parents care for child and start to grow, and child hangs out particularly keen without the organization of the people and without the extracurricular activity usually. But the children, they usually play with their friends or neighbors or their the relatives. So they are just focusing on their family ties and their close people, but they are not participating in some extracurricular or organized activity with the others and the rules or team play. So there are very different types of the culture and there are the different set of the skills they can grow. So that is the conclusion. So in their observation, the Professor LaRue made they had 20 families and the 30 families in the Philadelphia area in Pennsylvania, I don't know, in Philadelphia area. And then they started from the observation. So they visited their family, and after having their consent, they observed their verbal interactions and their communication. And after accumulating very rich information, of their communication and the parenting style. They made some argument that anyway in class they would have the class differences in their parenting. So that was their conclusion. So that was very, very good. So because as you could see in the GSS data, we can find the very details of the people. So for example, in income, we know the amount of income, but we are not sure how they get their income. For example, we can find some differentiation of the cross tabulation, but we are not sure what are very, very details of their characteristics or something. But in this qualitative method, starting from observation, this is very rich, very often very good method to find very qualified information. But still, they just can't. So based on the limitation of the time and money, they cannot make the observation of the 10 million families. So they just stopped in the some 20 or 30 families. And then there are criticisms that how can we generalize their finding from only 30 families or some minimal number of families in specific location of the United States. So Philadelphia. So can Philadelphia represent the whole cities in the United States? Maybe or maybe not. So that was the debate. So there is some problem or limitation in terms of the generalizability. So that's the problem. So based on the outcomes of to improve. So I'm not saying the qualitative method is bad or something because I told you that the quantitative method cannot follow the rich information. We cannot even approach the kind of the rich information of the qualitative method. So the downside of the quantitative method is the ranks and the context of the information. But in opposite, qualitative method would have some limitation of the generalizability because it cannot find very large number of samples. So so let me show you the example of the possible quantitative method. So from the theory, so based on the Annette theory, so for my academic article for the journal publication, I and my supervisor worked on the time use. So the class differentiated parenting was applied to the time use parent. So if they use their time in more extracurricular activities with the adult supervision, with the rules and the team play, that would be some good, more qualified time use in the extracurricular activities because they can learn more in the social skills and their norms and their cultures. So we classified the spent time on the organized activities. So we could see that the boys and girls, based on the family status, I mean their household status, we could find that. So we could find that some groups of the people would have the higher time, more time in the organized activity. So again, it looks very difficult to know, but there are so girls' time and the print time, and based on their level, their age, there are some differentiations of the time spent in the organized activities based on their family status. So there was the finding we can see. There are the family status differentiation in the time of the organized activities as a part of the good or more qualified time. But still, yeah, we were using the quantitative method. Anyway, we could have the more than 1,000 cases of the families, so that was a little bit better in terms of the representativeness of the generalization. But still, there are so many limitations because they are just limited to the 1,000 cases and just using the time used and the time spent in some activities. But we are not sure about the qualitative context of that time use pattern. So we are not sure about that. So the inductive method and the deductive method, I mean the qualitative and the quantitative method, we all have the limitations of the methods. But anyway, so I wanted to show you. So even though they are very limited in terms of their dimensions of their method, but still, started from the theory. So after reading the influential piece of the class differentiation of the parenting, uh, so I was inspired to use another data to test the theory with the empirical data. So that was the flow chart that we can use. I could use as a part of the development of the quantitative method. So as I showed you, so as you already did the proposal. So I know you already chose your topic and you made on some motivation and the introduction part. So maybe you already done. But now, so from now on, you can try. So as I did so from the Annette Larou's Unequal Childhood, so I chose the data and the variables I could use with my supervisor. And then so you can go to your GSS data and choose variables and you can choose the research method. So we learned t-test and ANOVA so far, and you will learn the chi-square next week and maybe the following week other method. But we will focus on what are the variables that you can use for your final paper and the research method you can use. And also description of data, we can use the descriptive statistics and to see what are the level of measurement and what are the possible method based on the level of measurement, and also interpretation and conclusion discussion. So these will be the flow chart and the essential parts of your final paper. Okay, and choosing your topic again. So maybe you already got my comments for the proposal, but the choosing your topic is the initial and the very important point because if you choose some topic which is not feasible based on the data, it means that you cannot write the paper honestly. So you can choose your topic based on the feasibility of the data, but still, the topic should be very interesting for you because if you're just using very simple and very easy topic, maybe it will be very easy, but because you are adding the literature and you need to read multiple and so many articles before the literature review, it means that you are wasting your time a lot. So choose your topic. So in terms of the feasibility, anyway, you need to limit down the range of topic. But still, I want you to choose your topic at least interesting for you. Again, so if your topic is too broad, such as the racial income inequality, okay, too big. So food safety, too big. So the better one would be, so in terms of the income inequality of the by the race, maybe racial income inequality by the education, for example. So you can add some more dimensions as a narrowing down the topic. But if your topic is too narrow, so if you are using some sample of the adolescents, that is not possible in our GSS data. But if you're just narrowing down your topic as so in terms of the range of the sample, so like the teenagers, which is still not available because your data starts from 18 years old, but like the gender inequality when they are 31 years old, for example. So this is very too tiny. So there is some trade-off. There should be some balance between the too narrow or too broad or something. So you need to find some optimal point. So based on your topic, based on your assignments, I will give you comment. I will give you some comments and suggestions so that you can find the optimal point. And also the introduction and the background part. So the introduction and the background part will be persuading why your topic and why your process of the topic would be interesting for your audience. Or anyway, at least it should be reasonable. Anyway, so that's justifying your choice of your topic and choice of your background of the information. Okay, and also you're developing your research question. So based on your topic, so from your topic you can develop the research question then. So if you're interested in the research topic as the racial inequality in income, maybe you can address the research question then. Can income be mediating? So can income be some differentiating factor between race and income, for example? So these are some details of the research question you can do. So It will be based on your needs base. So based on your one-page proposal and the in-class activity today, I will provide more detailed comments on that. So this is the logic of the structure. So starting from the basic idea, you can go to the background research, reading the articles, reading the art and sociology, and then after finding and after reading the articles, and you can make your topic, and then go to the research method, finding research method. So again, the general structure of final paper, so which I will make the better or the bigger instruction. Your introduction, you should make the motivation of study and literature review based on peer review articles. You need to not only very simple list of the summarization, but you need to make a very comprehensive level of the summaries and the comparisons of the articles relevant to your topic. And the data, using GSS data and the result, you need to use the statistical method based on the variables you choose. And then you need to make a very correct result, correct interpretation of the result, you can see. And the discussion and the limitation and the bibliography as your references in the literature review and other parts. So these will be the golden rule of the structure of your final paper. It means that if you miss any part of this golden rule, you are losing your many parts of your final paper. So there are many topics. So if you are struggling with finding some good topics, maybe using those websites will be very helpful. But it depends. It depends. So if you already have your topic, still very interesting for you, that's very good. You can keep that in. But if you are still working on finding some good topics, maybe you can have some ideas from those listed topics. So introduction. So good introduction is persuading your audience well. So should be very concise, because if you have 3 or 4 paragraphs in your introduction, that will be very loose and will be very not very interesting a lot. But if you have the concise motivation, that why we audience, so why we should read your introduction, or why should we care about your findings, that will be very important part in the motivation in introduction. But if your introduction does not have any kind of the motivations and any kind of the references or any kind of the statistics, I mean, the recent statistics of the racial income, maybe, why should we care about the racial income differences? Because they are the same. So we are not sure about that. So in limited introduction, if you don't have the good or appropriate motivations and something, that will be the bad type of the introduction. And literature review. So there are so many examples of literature review, but the very bad literature review is the summary. So list of the summarization. Trust me, throughout the whole years, so 10 years of the teaching the research method, always. So even though how much I try a lot, so the first paragraph, title, no, with or without the title. Anyway, summarization of the article 1. The next paragraph, summarization of the second article. Paragraph 3, summarization of the article 3. Never do that. Please never, please never do that. Because the literature review is a comprehensive one. So after reading 5 or 10 articles, and then picking up the key information of each article, and you can make the 1 paragraph or 2 paragraph. So based on their finding, some scholars found the racial income differentiation is caused by education, and then adding the references of the some people. But compared with these scholars, some other scholars found that the discrimination was matter. So some other articles. And in opposite, so in summarization, in conclusion, all issues matters. So not only education, but also the discrimination mattered in education, in racial differentiation of the income. So that might be very good literature review, very very comprehensive, so not the list of the summarization. But again, always there are so many examples of the using the bad structure of the literature review. Again, so never list the paragraphs of the summarization of each article. So please don't do that. And the correct citations. So all of you are sociology majors and all of you are mostly junior and seniors, so I don't need to mention a lot about the citation. But ASA or APA, probably you are familiar with ASA, so I prefer using ASA. But if you're craving to use the APA, so it's fine. If you just have the consistency of the citation, it's fine. So if you use the Purdue research all or the citation all, that will be very good information you can use. So I can do that. So let me show you the data, some examples of the data because so introduction in the literature review, you can make some motivation a lot, but in the data part. So before going on the main analysis of the ANOVA or chi-square or anything. Anyway, you need to provide some types of the descriptive statistics. So first example of the descriptive statistics would be the frequency table. So you are using your independent variable and dependent variable, and by showing the frequency table, it means that you are indicating the level of measurement. So based on level of measurement, you can choose some specific method, right? So the race of a household, for example, if you are using race of a household as independent variable. Okay, so I can see that you are using this variable and this is categorical. And if we are using this one as independent variable for ANOVA, more than 3 or more categories. Okay, good. And the R's incoming constant R's and you are using this variable as dependent variable of ANOVA. Okay, good. So you qualified. So by using the frequency table, I can see the level of measurement. So that's it. And also the cross tabulation. So okay, the cross tab. So you might remember. So in your memory, you have some maybe the vivid memory or some the vague memory about the column independent variable. The column is independent variable, and the row that is dependent variable. So it says column independent variable, the row dependent variable. So let's see the racial differentiation of the degree. So the race is determined at their birth, and then their degree is maybe the finished when they are 20 some years old or 30 years old if they have the graduate degree. So the race would be the column because this is the independent variable. And the degree will be the dependent variable. So cell percentages is on the column percentage because we are just categorizing by the column using independent variable. And okay. Okay, so within white, the 11%, so about 11.5% of the white people, they have the graduate degree. But African American, compared to the white, they would have the lower proportion of the graduate degree. And other races, okay, they will be the 10%. I'm not sure about that. So if you want to show you more details, maybe we can use the HH race. Oriental, okay, not very entertaining, entertainable, but we can see. All right, let me move my face here. Okay, there are more cases, but okay. All right, so white people, 11.6%. So relatively, African American would have the lower proportion of the graduate degree. Oh my gosh, these Asian people, okay, 22.4% people with the graduate degree. Oh my gosh, what happened to them? Like me? Anyway, so this 9.5%. So we can compare some. This is not very perfect information of the association between racial differentiation of their education. But anyway, that will be very good summarization of the association between two variables. So again, independent variable and dependent variable, you can find it. All right, and then the comparing the means. So I use the categorical variable because we were just showing the categorical order. But if your dependent variable is on the metric variable, you can use the compare means. So as I showed you, HH race is your independent variable, and CON RINC. Okay, so I told you that. So maybe in the previous video, I told you that this is very good dependent variable, which is the income in constant dollars. Okay, so now we found it. So it's very small. Not sure. Okay. Oh, maybe I use a different variable. So let me show you. So let me copy image. Ah, no, it doesn't work sometimes. So okay, okay. Oh, maybe I made some no delay. Okay. Ah, sorry about that. It's very hard to make the. Okay. It doesn't work. Sorry about that. So it's very hard to make the enlarge it. So maybe I can show you. So okay, maybe there's some problem with the keyboard. So let me show you. So anyway, when we use, so as I can do the compare means and the means, and maybe we can use the degree variable instead. Okay, so based on the degree, we can find the different mean income. So by using your independent variable as categorical and then mean, so we can find that the graduate degree. So as I showed before, based on their level of education, we can find other level. And also, if we want to show you more details of examples, so we already learned the mean and the median, some, minimum, and maximum, the range, and whatever. So if you want to see more variations of the descriptive statistics, or you can use those options. So for example, options, and then let's find the median. So let's find the median income or median income by race. And what is the maximum income of the race? And maybe what the minimum rate, minimum of the income by the race. And maybe the standard deviation. We will have it. Maybe those are not very useful, so okay. And okay. Right, now we have a lot of examples. So they're based on their education. We can find the standard deviation of each level of education in income and median and maximum and the minimum. So the median. So which level of education has highest median? Yeah, naturally graduate degree. So we can use this method as a part of the descriptive statistics. Okay, so again, okay. And also, sometimes some variables. So if it is fine to use the label in the data, that will be good. But sometimes some variables, we cannot find the full information. So error bars is very good. Allow ratios to teach. Okay, manageable. R use computer. What does that mean? We are not sure about that. So what are you use computer? Do you use computer at home or work or something? So we are not sure about that. Okay. So which company would R prefer to work for? Oh, no, no, no. This is not the one. Computer. Okay. Commuse. Where is the commuse? Commuse. Maybe hard to find it, but maybe. Commuse, here it is. R use computer. We're not sure about that. Then we can find the GSS Explorer. So this is our website and GSS Data Variable Explorer. And we can type commuse. use. Okay. Oh, let me see. Maybe I use typo. Use. Okay. All right, so we have one variable. So the context of variable is, do you personally ever use a computer at home or at work or at some other locations? All right, okay, that's good. That's very good variable. So whether based on age or age category, there would be some differentiation the having experience of the user computer or somewhere. So we can use that. So if we just see the SPSS data itself, it's almost impossible to find the appropriate information. In that case, go to GSS Data Explorer on our website and then find more information. Okay. That's all about it. So we can find more additional information again by using the modules and by limiting yours, maybe delete and the keyword again, all the variables. But based on your topic, if you are interested in the health, maybe we can find the health module or health as your major variable, and you can search out some variables you can use. So there are so many variables of health, so you can choose anything. All right, so that's all about my tips for your the advancement or improvement, or the due of the expanded proposal is approaching very soon. Not this week, but maybe next week. But you can work on that with my tips. All right, so thank you for your time. I know these are two videos are long enough, but thank you for your time, and I hope this video could help you help you work on your final paper or your next assignments. All right, thank you very much, and see you in class.